Good morning, everybody. I have a game lined up with Brickpot, rated 1309. This is a 15 plus 10, so we're going to relax. We're going to take our time. We're going to try and notice everything that's going on the board. I don't think I need that one now. Just been out to let the birds out. And that is a response I have never seen in all my days to the Scandinavian, right? But this, and then the bishop comes out to here. Now, takes doesn't really make much sense. My first inclination is to push d4, take this square away from the knight, and leave his bishop there looking a bit dumb. I don't see anything wrong with that move, because I'm going to try and follow up with e5, and if I push this and then he pushes, he's still looking awkward. And it's a horrible move. Reason is, it's blocking the d pawn, right? And if it blocks a d pawn, that blocks the queen's bishop. Now that bishop can't get out, that knight can't get out. He might well play this, which actually prevents that. So I'd have to play knight c6 first. And relax. I've been on quite a good run the last day or so. I really tanked. I hit 1591, and then I had that 3 games against Christina, who put a curse on me and hexed me and made me tilt. And then I went on a bad run, and I was doing that thing where you chase losses, you know. I thought, no, I'm better than this. Come on, I'm better than this. Blah, blah, blah. And I just was losing more than I was winning. I was losing 2 out of 3 games, and I slid all the way back down to 1500, scraped my arse on 1500. Because I said to myself, I do not want to go below 1500 this year. In fact, you know, I'd like to get to 1600, maybe even higher, you know. But yeah, I just on 1500, and they managed to climb back up. And I think I just lost a blitz game this morning on the tablet, but I think before that I've had a winning run of about 11 or so games, so 12 games, pretty good. So I'm back up to 1569 and gearing up for a very busy weekend. We've got something coming this weekend, but I'm not ready to announce it yet. It's going to be in another month. So basically what we're doing, oh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, we're going to use the month of February to try and hone a new kind of chess training idea. And then assuming it works as well as we think it's going to work, you'll hear about it in a month's time. Okay, so he's now moved his bishop a second time. That's one thing I notice. Okay, so he's lost a tempo there. He's pinning my knight against the queen, so the knight is now pinned, and if the knight is pinned, the knight is no longer defending this pawn, which is under attack, but it's also defended by the queen. Okay, now, so first thing I thought was, look, I can block that. Then if he takes my pawn, I can recapture with the knight and I'm fine. But if I block that and he takes my knight, oh no, then bishop takes and then the queen is defending it again, so that's okay. Either way, it's all okay. However, I can't play that. See, I can't just do nothing, actually. Because if he takes that, queen can take. But if I want to play e5, which is what I wanted to do, and he takes that, the queen's not defending e5, only the knight would be defending e5, and the knight is, as we've said, pinned. So, why not this? I'm going to counterpin his knight. And now, if he had his bishop here, right, on this square, on the Italian square rather than the Spanish square, he could do that trick that Christina did on me. Right, and this is the pattern. So I'm looking for the pattern here. Bentley, go away with his big claws, click-clacking on the... yeah, so if the bishop's here, Okay, so he's taken that, that's fine. So now that bishop has moved once, twice, 4 times, I think, isn't it? No, 3 times. He's moved the bishop 3 whole times. And now, you might argue that White's actually kind of behind in development. So he's made 3 moves, so he's made 6 moves so far, and 3 of them were with a bishop that is no longer there on the board. Okay? Right. I'm just going to retreat this, maintain the pin on the knight, and now I can play e5, which is what I want to do. I'm not too bothered about these. What this is doing is it's creating space. Okay, it's creating space that could be used to attack me, or it's space that I could use to maneuver my pieces around. So, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing that I have these double pawns and an isolated pawn on the A file. It's not brilliant, but by the same token, I have the bishop pair. He doesn't, and he's kind of slow in development. After 6 moves, he's got a pawn there, a semi-move there, and a knight developed that's pinned. So I might argue that I have reasonable compensation for my pawn damage. So to be fair, I didn't calculate this idea that if I went there, I get kicked. In fact, it's not even that, it's just a case of take the knight, but that's okay. This is okay. Got a big steaming hot cup of tea. Lovely. Okay, he's gone for the double kick. Now this is interesting. So my reading of this is, I mean, obviously my bishop's going to come here, right? So let's play that anyway. Put his clock back on. Okay. Now, okay, so he's got my bishop kind of pretty well penned in right now, although I could bring it back this way. Yeah. But the thing I notice is this. He's gone for the double kick, which means he's really messed up the pawns on the king side. However, on the queen side of the board, look, there's a completely open b file. So right now, I want to be thinking about definitely throwing my pawns at the c file. These double pawns are not going to be much use in defense. I'm going to use them as a battering ram. Okay, now I can't play that now. So do I want to... How can I support e5? I really want to play e5. I don't want to go too far behind on space. I think White's going to want to castle that way. If White does want to castle that way, the dark square bishop is going to be very important. So do I want to push this? I need to get my bishop out. Or do I just push e6? Develop the bishop somewhere, then develop the knight to here. Or the knight can actually come straight there, can't it? e6, bishop to here, maybe then e5. It's got to be done. Something's got to be done. My rook's probably going to find his way to b8 at some point. Oh, hello. Okay, so this is interesting. So he's attacking this pawn, he's attacking this bishop. I don't want him to take this pawn, for sure. So I'm going to put my queen here on a dark square, defending all my pawns. If he wants to take the bish, he can do. I will recapture with the h pawn. Again, look, he's falling into the trap of moving his developed pieces multiple times. Having said that, my position's not fantastic. I'm also attacking his knight, so it's putting the question to the knight. Can I go there? Oh! That's not a bad move. Okay, first thought is queen here. Defends that and that. The bishop can take care of itself, that's fine. But if I play queen here and the knight moves, bishop's attacking that. But there's not much I can do. I'm just going to go here. Knight comes here, I take it. Knight comes here, I take it. Now the bishop is tied to the defense of the knight. That looks nice. I'm happy that the knight can't move with check. Okay, now this is my first thought. First thoughts are quite often useful, but not always best. Okay, so this here puts two attackers on the knight, bishop and queen. He can't take there, he can't go there, he can't go there. He's probably going to trade off. He could retreat to there and he can't go there, or he could go there. So he's got three options. Let's do it. Then if we end up trading bishops this way, if he takes and I recapture the pawn, again, that's pretty good for me. I've got very solid pawns then on these files. Knight takes there, recapture. Otherwise, my knight is coming out. Let's start preparing our thoughts on that. It's one of those games that's kind of tactical but ugly. He can't castle yet. So if I attack his b2 pawn, I think his only real defense is to... Okay, so he's gone for that, I'm going to recapture. Yeah. He could play his knight here, or he can push the pawn. Okay, now I'm attacking the bishop. Bishop's undefended. What are you going to do? Notice that I have made pawn captures, right? But my pawn captures, so I've captured with the B pawn and I've captured with the H pawn, both towards the center of the board. That gives me a bigger mass of pawns in the middle. And if he trades off here, which I think would be a mistake on White's part, I'll be capturing towards the center again. Yes, I've got this isolated guy here, but I could have a mass of 6 pawns. Oh, he's done it. He's only gone and done it. Okay, there's no brainer. I'm going to capture with the C pawn. Capturing the queen would just be ridiculous with a pawn there. Okay, right. So, what's the plan, man? He's attacking my queen. He's attacking this pawn that's defended only by the queen. Therefore, this looks fine. Or this. Or this. All 3 moves defend the pawn. Question is, which of those is preferable? This comes with check. This is not playable because knight takes. This comes with check. Queen blocks, we could trade off. Then it's going to come down to, you know, we're getting towards a very equal looking end game where material is equal, but we have to say who has the better pawn structure. And I don't know. So I'm not sure if I want to get into this or this kind of nonsense. Are there any other tricks? Could I allow him to take that and somehow fork material? No, not really. Let's see, I go here and he takes the check and I come here. You can just block the pawn. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to think about lining up my rook on the B file. Finish development. So knight here, maybe. Where's the knight got most scope? See, my problem is for my knight's second jump, wherever it goes, its first jump's going to be on dark square. Second jump's going to be onto a light square, right? So from here or here, I'm going to end up on kind of one of these, and they're all guarded. That's the problem, as things stand. Curious game. time may prove to be a factor. What a wicked game to play. Now, with this move, he no longer can put his queen on this diagonal, right? And he's not really attacking this pawn. My first thought was, let's just block with the knight, but there's no need, I don't have to block. If I play check now, check, pawn take, pawn blocks, takes. He's lost a pawn, he's still in check, and his rook is forked. I'm doing it. Because the queen can no longer go there, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to trade queens in an equal ending. I want to keep the queens on the board. I want to keep more options on the board, because I think if I'm higher rated than this guy, I ought to be able to do more mental cycles, consider a few more things, be a little bit more experienced, a little bit more kind of hopefully agile in my thinking. So for that reason, I want the board to be more complex, because it will leave more possibilities for tricks and traps and tactics and good things. Right, this isn't playable because takes, and the king has to move to here. Then queen here, and he loses this pawn as well. So that really would be a blunder, I think, now. I think what he's got to do is move his king. The queens are still on the board, but there isn't much other stuff left on the board in terms of material. Yeah, I'm now just wondering if my knight can come around this way. This pawn moves to there, frees up a light square. Oh, he's done it. All right, let's do it. I don't think this works, pal. Or is he going to play knight blocks? I'm not sure about that. No. See, okay, now, let me finish what I was going to say. So, yeah, I think one thing I'm noticing as I climb up the ratings is that you kind of start off as a beginner not knowing the chess principles, then you learn some chess principles, but then what you do is you get kind of calcified and too rigid and stick to them maybe a bit too much. That may be what's going on here now. If I do this, he can block with a knight. I think it's worth doing. I can always then come back here as well with another. So, no, not really. It's not check, is it? So develop knight, maybe castle the king. I'm okay for pawns around here. I've still got 4 on the queen side. King side. There's no benefit in castling long. What do I push? King's in the middle of the board, right? King's not castling. He's in the middle of the board. He's kind of exposed. Takes, something like that. Just try and isolate this guy. That might work. Takes, pushes. Still not good for this guy. Push, that kind of thing. Okay, knight has blocked. Right, I'm going to... If I develop my knight and I try and tempt him to push, knight can come here. If I do this and he pushes here, don't think I want to take, do I? So I'm thinking, let's bring the knight here then. Go back to this plan. Here. Oh! Now the king's there, look. Oh, lordy. Oh, sweet Jesus. Wouldn't that be nice? If he pushes that, he's got discovery on my rook. So we just push again. And we still have this idea. The game, Mrs. Hudson, is on. That wasn't a bad impression, actually. The name's Sherlock Holmes. The address is 221B Baker Street. Brilliant TV. Brilliant. Oh, ouch. Okay. That knight seems a long way away, doesn't it? It seems like, oh, that's a harmless little knight munching on grass in its field. Oh. Comes with check, right? So this is interesting. This is an attack, right? But then I'm worried about this. If he takes my rook, my king has to move. And then he takes my other rook, and it's calamity. However, I do this with check. His king must move because he can't capture the attacker. You know, we did a video on responding to attacks the other day. Now, I get this. He has to take with the queen, actually. If I take his queen, he does this. I have to move, he gets that. And then we've got a situation where it's 2 rooks against the queen. So I'm thinking this is the way to go, but it's going to end up equal. Maybe he spotted the thought, maybe he calculated all this. Right, if I take that, queen must take, obviously. And then, so his queen's on here, that rook's gone. Oh, I don't know. If I take queen, he takes this, I go there, he goes there, I get his knight. Actually, I take queen, pretty much forced, there. He's got to take my rook. Okay, maybe not that pawn. And then knight takes knight, yeah? I think I end up with a queen and a knight against 2 rooks, and that is better. Okay, now I have to go here or here. No, but then you lose your rook. You see, just calculation that. Just calculation. Good game. Does he want a rematch? That was a very good game. No, he doesn't. Yeah, scrappy one. Definitely a scrappy one. But something else that I'm working on a lot more at the moment as well is I think I'm upping my defensive consideration a bit more in the mix, you know. So I'm working maybe a little bit more on not losing, right? As well as trying to win when the time is right as well. But I have to say, guys, it's just a fascinating journey. This chess thing, I mean, for such a simple game, you can learn the moves, you can learn the rules in 15 minutes. And it really, there is just a lifetime of exploration and learning and self-development. And it teaches you about your own mind as well, which is just absolutely wonderful, you know. Cannot say how much I'm loving this game and that I'm loving it more the more I play it as well, which is just bizarre. I don't think there's anything else quite like this I've ever come across anyway. So it's enough gushing from me. Thanks for watching. I hope you've picked up 1 or 2 things, and I'll see you guys very soon.